All right, welcome back to another episode of NFT Live. That wasn't our traditional introduction. We're chilling out here at the Bored Ape Yacht Club. This is going to be a Bored Ape Yacht Club heavy special, man. This is going to be an awesome time. I don't know how we got in. I think they let us in the back door, but Ronan's here with me, another Ape member himself. We are excited for this episode. What's going on, my man?
Not much, man. It's been a pretty good weekend. Had a good, nice holiday weekend. Been chilling at the club. Like we took the boat out just a little while ago. I don't know who gave us the keys, but that was probably not a good idea. And outside of that, man, just enjoying, the NFT space, dude. Obviously, the Bored Ape Yacht Club has blown up. Had a huge weekend. The merch sale. They've got all types of cool projects going on. They've done really, really well. Obviously, we see that thanks to the floor is about to hit 1 ETH. I would be awesome if it hit 1 ETH while we're sitting here live. So we definitely have a Bored Ape Yacht Club full episode for you guys today. And obviously we will, touch on some other news going on in the scene. But it is going to be definitely a little ape heavy today.
100% ape heavy. They're doing great work in this kind of NFT. I wouldn't even call it a lull. We're just hanging out. I think there's a lot of projects building. One of them being the Bored Ape Yacht Club, and what they've been able to accomplish here has been amazing. So I want to get this episode out. I want the apes all to hit this. I know if you're a Meebits fan, maybe you're not wanting us to cover them too much, but we're going to get into that here on this episode as well. Nice to see everybody in the house. Nightbot is making sure that you guys stay under control. I need to get rid of Nightbot, man. He's been way too much for all of the lads, but it's good to see everybody in here. I'm going to give a quick couple shout outs here. 333 is in the house. Tigbo, who actually was able to get some of this audio that you're hearing. This is directly from the YouTube channel there for Bored Ape Yacht Club. So shout out to those guys, but shout out to Tigbo as well. Jay is in the house. Small Town Cowboy, Easy and Crypto Stamina, Marty McFly. You guys are showing up early and often, and we appreciate it very much, man. Thank you guys so much.
Yeah, absolutely. We appreciate everybody who's coming and hanging out today. If you are from the Bored Ape Yacht community, we appreciate you. Definitely look, I just threw out a tweet, hit retweet, do the same thing on the episode. I'm gonna have to throw in our call to action right now. So if you guys are new here, definitely we hope you appreciate the content. We hope that if you do, you hit the like button, you subscribe to the channel. It does mean a lot, and it brings a lot of attention and awareness to what we're doing and the content that we're providing every single week, Tuesdays at 2:30 p.m. Eastern-ish. We do our best, but just depending on where we're shooting from. So, this week it's Bored Ape Yacht Club, man. I love it, dude. I like the little bit of a change of scenery. I was back playing Mutant Ape a little while ago. I'm trying to figure out where exactly all the little Easter eggs are hidden in this place. You know what I mean? I'm ready for the Easter egg hunt they've got coming.
Love the lore that's going on with Bored Ape, and we're going to touch on everything at BAYC, man. The merch drop was amazing. I know you got a piece. We've been members of BAYC for a while now, so it's exciting to see it take off. I do have a quick couple LADZ pieces. Usually we're in LADZ City. That is our home. The Bored Apes have their home, which we've invaded. But usually we're in LADZ City here in providing the latest content from our hub, from our city. So we are not there today. We took a little road trip. But we do have some updates here. The first of which I'm actually just going to hit us with here, which is a special episode giveaway here. So we kind of have a Bored Ape Yacht Club giveaway. This is with Drippyverse. So we've done a collaboration with Drippyverse in the past. We had those LADZ City Drippies that did really well. They sold out and everything, and that was an amazing experience for the community and all that stuff. But we do have this giveaway going on, which I'll drop in the chat. A quick note. I talked with Gordon from Bored Ape Yacht Club. These are not official, okay? So these are going to be changing just a tad here in the very near future. So these are going to change. They're not going to have the Bored Ape Yacht Club logos. They're not official. Obviously, that's a cool little side discussion as we get into more NFTs. What's the IP and what's the branding and what's the copyright and all that stuff. But this is going on right now. I'll drop it in chat. If you guys like and retweet this post, we are going to pick this after the episode here. and one winner is essentially going to get a voucher for one of these Drippyverse Bored Ape Yacht Club for free. Also, the nobles, if you're a 5,250 or more LADZ holder, you are a noble in LADZ City, you're getting automatically entered into this giveaway as well. So really cool stuff. Ronan, what do you think about this as I drop it in the chat here as we get ready to go?
Dude, I love Drippies. Everybody knows that. I love the IP. I think that Dorian does excellent work, and this was really cool to see. I'm a little sad that I didn't think about this first, and the first official ape in the Drippies verse was not Black Hat. But we're gonna work on it. I hit him up, and we're definitely gonna have some more Bored Ape Yacht Club derivatives coming, which is part of what makes this NFT experience so effing cool, right? Like the fact that you can take your NFT that you own, that one unique image, right? And then you can just do all these really cool things with it. And getting an action figure of the ape that you own is pretty freaking cool if you ask me, man. So that's definitely on the list. I know I got my cool Dario derivative that I really love of Black Hat, but like, dude, the action figure, that's on point.
Absolutely, man. Yeah, Drippies is doing a great job. Shout out to Florian, who's behind that project there, and Danny, who's helping him with that ape that you just saw on the screen. So that is going on. I just dropped the tweet in LADZ City, or in the chat here. If you guys go there and like and retweet, you have a chance to enter that giveaway there, and we will announce it after the episode. So last piece before we actually get into the heavy stuff, we go full Bored Ape. I am going to be doing an episode right after this with Young Content. He does an amazing job over there on his channel. Let me see if I can pull this up. So this is from his Twitter. Ronan was on this recently. I believe 2 weeks ago you were on the Young Content show. That was an awesome episode that I was able to listen in. So I'm excited to be on this here at 3:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Want to give a big shout out to him. He is a lad in LADZ City as well. And he has his own growing channel. So really excited to talk social tokens, NFTs. Maybe I'll probably talk about Bored Apes there too. But that is going to be directly after this episode. So that's what's going on in LADZ City. I know we didn't have Layer 1 Live yesterday. We do content Monday to Sunday, basically. But yesterday was Memorial Day. We weren't able to go over the schedule. But if you really want to know what we've got coming here in LADZ City, you want to go to LADZ.city in your browser. It'll take you directly to our main hub, our Discord, and you'll be able to ask questions about what we've got going on our network, within our community, and all of the cool stuff that we've got going on. So really, really awesome. Excited to be on that. But Ronan, before we send off, before we launch into the biggest shill job we've ever done in our life, go ahead and drop the call to actions, man.
Yeah, so if you guys are new to the channel, thank you so much for being here. We appreciate you so much. Big shout out to everyone who is hanging out in chat. I see you, Easy. He says he's been putting in offers on apes, but he still does not have one. So we might have to help our boy Easy out and get him hooked up with an ape so he can join us here in the club on Easy Street this week. But outside of that, look, if you're new to the community, if you're part of the Bored Ape Yacht Club, we cover news every week. It's about the same time every week, Tuesdays at 2:30 p.m. Eastern. We try to cover everything that is going on that's kind of big. This week we've got stories like the Beeple news. Obviously we've got, Sotheby's and Artifact having the MetaKobe and kind of a little bit of drama there going on. Ben Mauro, the ZENFT launch, which are these really cool generative bonsai trees, as well as the VeeFriends selling out. So when we cover all these news stories, that's every week. We're trying to hit everything and kind of bring you guys up to date on what's been going on. So if you like the content, if you enjoy the content, we also do interviews every week. This week it's kind of like Bored Ape centric, but definitely weekly we are trying to bring in guests from different projects and having chats with them. You can go through, the playlist and find out, what we've done in the past. We've had some excellent guests, including Ben Mauro, who has been on the show. So if you're new, like it, subscribe it, retweet it, follow it on Twitter, tell all your ape friends, and come be bored with us every Tuesday at 2:30 p.m. Eastern.
Absolutely, man. We might, I don't want to go too far down the rabbit hole, but maybe a Bored Ape whole series would be sick as this project grows. But anyways, we are ready to roll, guys. I shared pretty much the episode wherever I could, please do go ahead and share the episode as well. I know we hit the Discord for Bored Apes as well. So definitely share it as much as we can. We want the comment section to be absolutely on fire for this episode with your thoughts, whether you could get an ape, whether you're looking to buy an ape. I know that floor price is rising quickly. But we have pretty much an entire piece to get to, especially, if you're new, we'd love to break down the project as well, which is, I think, where we're going to start. So we're going to go ahead and just break down the origin of how this went down. And then you guys can comment along too. We want to get those comments in here, and we will get started. NFT Live, best NFT show in the world. Let's get it rolling, Ronan. So let's touch origin story. Let's do it.
Right. So for anybody who doesn't know, Bored Ape Yacht Club is essentially an NFT project that is really super cool. It came out onto the scene. It was a super small project, right? Like it's three guys who worked together. They kind of came up with this idea through, a little bit of back and forth trying to figure out hey, we want to do an NFT collection, but we're not really sure where we want to go with it. And it kind of started with this idea of, okay, what if you had I don't know, these apes, right? And they started with that as the basis. And then it kind of evolved into, well, what's the story of the apes? Well, the apes are, they're all a bunch of crypto investors, right? They have invested in crypto over the years, and they have this yacht club they come to, and some of them maybe they hit, maybe they were successful, maybe some of them had the rug pulled from underneath them or whatever, but essentially they end up in this yacht club, and that's kind of where things pick up. So the group obviously launched this about a month ago at this point, and it kind of launched on a Friday afternoon, and it didn't have huge traction to kind of get going, right? And this is kind of actually a good spot to kind of sit on for a second. Yeah, right there. That's perfect. So a little bit about Bored Ape Yacht Club, and we'll go into what that night was what that night was like. But it's 10,000 provably rare Bored Ape tokens. Obviously, these are all generative, so they're all a little bit unique. They have, I think, something like 7 different traits that they can have. You can have between 4 and 7 traits per ape, and then those traits have rarities. Now, another good thing to note was that this wasn't one of those kind of funky, Dutch auctions or one of the ones that increase over time. This was a straight up 0.08 ETH. Anybody could mint an ape for that price, and that was it. Now, this is where it gets really cool, okay? Now you're talking, once you get your ape, what do you do with your ape? You have complete ownership and commercial usage rights to any ape that you own. So if you own the NFT, you can have derivatives made. You can partner with companies to come up with products that you can sell. You own the rights to that image as long as you hold the NFT. Now, when you hold the NFT, you also get some other cool perks, right? You get access to the bathroom, which is basically a pixel by pixel graffiti wall. You can only drop 1 pixel every 3 or 4 minutes. But if you kind of go in there with a group and hang out for a couple hours, you guys can actually create something really cool. And so there's some kind of cool art on the bathroom wall. And then next up, and I think most importantly, is you get additional benefits that are outlined on the roadmap, activations. Now, the roadmap is pretty deep. It's got a lot of cool stuff, and it's part of why this project, I think, is doing so well. So, these are all, it's important to note that when they posted this roadmap, they honestly thought that this would take weeks to sell out. They had no idea that it would sell out in less than 24 hours. So when you consider the percentage sold, understand that this happened way faster than they expected. So right now, we actually just hit the 60% point, and then the 80% point is up next, which is essentially an Easter egg mystery hunt where you have the opportunity, if you're an ape holder, to get a piece of 5 ETH that's going to be giving away during that egg hunt. They've got the liquidity pool, as well as the NFT breeding that are all still to come. Now, what has already hit, what has already come, obviously we had the apes drop. Then we had the 5 caged apes that were dropped. Those actually got dropped 48 hours after they sold out. Then they dropped the BAYC YouTube channel, which you guys are listening to those dope beats right now. And then on Saturday, this past Saturday, they actually did their first merch drop, which, other than the fact that they didn't have a huge supply, they only had about 520 items total for 3,200 individual owners. It still was, I think, relatively considered a success.
Yeah.
If you were lucky enough to snag some Bored Ape Yacht Club merch, then you're probably either you're probably struggling right now on whether or not you want to keep the $30 black hat or if you need to sell it for $4,000 on eBay.
Yeah. And I need to check the actual sales on eBay. I know a bunch were being listed for up to like 10,000 I saw for like the long sleeve shirt and things like this. I think before we head into the merch, it's important to talk about why these things are successful. Somebody comes in, they look at this and they say, what the hell is going on here? These NFT art pieces, and it's almost an argument to call it art, right? Like someone would look at this and say, I don't see the art piece in here, but the generative form of how they're created is cool in my opinion. I like the unique factors that really touch, to be honest, like everyone in the Twitter sphere as well as Discord, they're talking about specific apes and why they bought it. Why they bought each one. There's some personal feelings behind just these ridiculous looking images, right? And that is such a cool feature here as we kind of move forward. And I don't think we should leave out the fact that there have been many projects that have done this before. Right? We've seen CryptoPunks. We saw generative art. I want to talk about Avastars. Like they do a great job. Jimmy and them over there do a great job. Meebits is another one. This generative form has been done before, but it's just crazy to see the hype wave of what's happening with Bored Ape Yacht Club just from a grassroots community approach. So if you have questions on why this is successful, I think drop it in the chat. Let us kind of comment away on specific questions on what you might want to know about why these things are so awesome, because it can get lost in the weeds a little bit if you really don't know what's happening.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And I think that that's important to kind of point out is, why is the project so successful? And I think that the roadmap is a big part of that, right? Because from, I guess it was a good time to kind of speak a little bit about like what that initial like process was like, because I think that that's kind of important to why Bored Apes were so successful. For me, I know it was a little bit different for other people. Everyone's got their own story, and I would love to hear if you were lucky enough to jump in the first night, like what was that? Let us know in chat. What was it like for you? Because for me, it was a pretty crazy experience. For anyone who's heard the story, I'll kind of give you the succinct version of it, which is essentially that it was about 2:30 in the morning. I'm getting ready to go to bed. My daughter had a soccer tournament that we had to drive like 2 hours to, and I had to wake up at like 6:30, right? So literally I'm up late. I'm having a hard time sleep. I'm getting ready to go to bed, and I look at Twitter. I see Twitter, and I see a post. It's by Jimmy, and he's like, I just bought 50 of these. And Pranksy responds, and he's like, well, I just bought 200, right? And I'm like, okay, like what is that, right? So I start looking into it, and then I see another tweet pop up, and Jimmy's like, I just bought 500, and then Pranksy's like, I bought 1,200, and so I hop into Discord, I look at it, I instantly think I need to buy a couple of these, right? So I buy 3 of them. And then I start hanging out in Discord, dude, which was the best and worst idea I've ever had, because it ended up totally sucking me in. The Discord and the community and everyone who was involved that night will tell you, like, it was electric. And here Q's got shout out to the apes. You guys are live. Look at the floor, dude. Floor is 0.9872 on OpenSea. We're looking at 0.9514 on NFTX floor, and NFT20 is 0.99, dude. It's getting close to 1 ETH. I would love to see, shout out to the apes. If you're in the ape like fam, we need to go ahead and buy up the few that are left under 1 ETH, because we need to be above 1 ETH for sure. But with that said, it's been an amazing experience. If you get into here, you obviously see, check out the the left side of the screen. You can see every single channel is active. There are people talking about everything from their own derivatives to the sale of the apes to trading apes to the memes that they come up with for the community. There's the ape market. They had the community bonded together and started buying up the plots that were around the Sandbox Bored Ape Yacht Club plots because they want to build there, right? Like, and everybody has this really dope idea of how to make this community, you know, like make it work and to be, you know, like this thing that's so unique.
I
so
we're gonna have a long discussion. I don't think we're ever gonna shill anything harder, just because it's so fun to talk about this generative art movement, and
it's amazing,
and to see kind of Bored Apes go about this. But I really do want to point out, it looks like the Bored Apes are understanding that they're now live on television. They are on YouTube here, as you can see. We're on Pizza Later saying we're on TV. So they're kind of understanding that they are live.
Shout out, what's going on, guys? I love it, dude. Fries frame.
Love to see it. Yeah. So we have a bunch of stories that are connected to this. You know, we were sitting here pre-episode talking about how we wanted to go about talking about this stuff. And we wanted to give a quick intro for those people that maybe didn't really understand, you know, what was going on. And I think that's still important. So all of these stories that are attached, and what we're going to talk about next, whether it be the Sandbox partnership, whether it be the merch drops, whether it be all of these different, you know, derivative pieces here, where you have like baby apes, that's all what makes it really an awesome project. And you have the funding now, and the DAO piece is something I'd love to touch on too. You have the funding with the team now to continue that process, and it's like a huge snowball that if it just gets pushed a little bit down the hill, it's often off to the races, and that's what we see now.
Absolutely. And I definitely think that we're on that like steamroll, right? Like the snowball is coming down the hill, and it's gaining traction, and it's getting bigger, and it's getting bigger, and it's getting bigger. Shout out to Cost Effective, OVOT, baby. And you know, like, I think that you just can't underestimate community when it comes to NFTs. It is the soul of what the technology is about, right? Like, I mean, it really is about the connection that these projects are able to make with the people who are collecting them. I have 3 apes left. Unfortunately, 2 I did not get to adjust over the weekend. So sorry, fam. They got snatched up a little cheap. But I do have 3 left, and I don't think I plan on letting go of maybe one of those eventually. But, you know, Black Hat will never leave my wallet, and I'm going to have a really tough time getting rid of, you know, my pimp coat that I got from Jimmy, right? So you just, this community just makes you love every bit of it. And because you can relate to your ape, and because people can build upon it, because you have the derivatives, maybe it'd be fun to kind of go through some of those. You know, I mean, the Bored Ape community has a Bored Ape IPA. If you guys are unaware of the fact that there's an IPA, there's going to be an IPA run for the Bored Ape Yacht Club members.
Yeah.
Now you guys know. And I think that that is why you find these successful projects.
Yeah. Yeah, so let's go into some comments. And guys, I really want this to be super heavy from the comment perspective, and kind of you guys interacting here. It looks like, man, I thought there was a question here by Choina. Okay, quick question for anyone who knows. How is the BAYC merchandise verifiable as genuine? NFC chips is kind of the answer that he threw out. That's a great question. You know, when you have the digiphysical stuff that goes on, how can you determine whether this piece is connected to which NFT? All of this stuff is so awesome, and the derivative pieces are really cool. We're going to touch on some. You know, I hesitate to call an IPA a derivative of what's going on, but I can pull that up here and we can go through the various things that are going on. But again, all of this is going to steamroll, or I guess snowball is probably the better example here. All of this kind of is pushing Bored Apes farther and farther when it comes to that floor price and just community growth. So let's go into it. This was the IPA piece that Ronan was talking about. You have out of Michigan, which now we need to go to Benton Harbor, Michigan, Ronan, because they are doing a Bored Ape Hazy IPA. This is one of the more funny examples of the movement here. There's definitely more like financially profitable or you know, kind of other pieces that go along with this that we'll touch on, but a Bored Ape Hazy IPA, that's pretty cool to see out of
Benton
Harbor, Michigan.
And I love that it's going to have tropical fruit and passion fruit aromas and a touch of hot bitterness. I love it, dude. I think that this is the future of engagement with like brands and creators in general. And I've said it before. I think that this is how you create a very unique experience that brings, it brings a different connection to the people who are in your ecosystem, right? It doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter if you're Coke or Nike or Adidas or Levi or whatever. Like there's a play in the space for NFTs that makes sense for your brand. And when you look at things like this, it's like, imagine like, I don't know, man. I just think about things like Coke, like having the ability to have, maybe you have flavors, right? Like NFTs are representative of flavors, and you can mix and match different NFTs to create a flavor that you can then order directly from Coke and have a special bottle shipped to you, right? Like this is where the technology allows for some cool things that people just don't really realize when they first step into the community. So
Yeah, no, I want you to kind of touch on this. I think that was a great point. I think the connection with the community is something we're seeing within Web3 that doesn't exist as in depth and as deep as you would see in maybe a traditional merch drop or anything that kind of exists today. Web3 is really taking that creator economy and saying, and not even just that, it's taking merchandise, it's taking culture, and it's making it profitable to be a consumer. Whereas that's usually been like a one-way street, right? The creator is really getting the only benefit there. So I want you to touch on this. Digiphysical is something that's continuing to kind of blow up, and we have or we at least have some merch that's being dropped here, some physical merch. What's going on with this piece here, and kind of take us through that drop?
So the merch dropped on Saturday. It dropped at, I think it was like, 6 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Eastern, something like that. And dude, I was so hype. And the funny thing is I totally forgot about it. Honestly, I totally forgot about it. And I was sitting there and it was like, it's 30 minutes till, and somebody retweeted the Bored Ape Yacht Club, the post that they put out there to tell you, make sure you get your password, right? So I log in, I get my password. And then dude, I was just waiting. It drops at 6 o'clock. It took almost 60 seconds before it actually allowed you to go into the merch store. And then I was so just paranoid about making sure that I got my black hat, because I didn't want it to like sell. I didn't want to grab too many and like, trying to get a red hat, which there was only 50 red hats. Trying to get one of those, ruin my chances at a black hat. So I only checked out for the black hat. Then when I went to go back to try to check out again, it was sold out. Now the official tweet does say that it took 6 minutes. I feel like it was more like 3, because I didn't have the opportunity to go back in and get the other stuff that I wanted. So, here you see that 520 pieces sold out in just a couple of minutes. If you look at eBay, the price is absolutely insane. $4,000 and $5,000 for some of these merchandise items. And then you see the reason why the floor is starting to raise, right? The reason why, and we'll pull this up here in a minute, why they've done $2 million in volume over the last 24 hours. It's because they have a roadmap, they have things that they're implementing, and they're doing them regularly, and the community is loving them. $2.1 million. When we looked at this about an hour ago, it was 2.045, right? Yeah. So they've sold $100,000 in the last hour, dude. This is insane, the movement that they're seeing, and it's well worth it, because you look at the roadmap, you see that they've got the treasure hunt coming up. You're gonna have to have an ape to take part in that. They've got breeding coming up. You're gonna have to have an ape to be able to breed, and then everybody's curious, what is breeding gonna bring?
This is a great transition into a discussion that we're going to maybe have later, maybe have now, where you see the amount of buyers. Look at this. You see the amount of buyers, 427, and then you have other generative pieces, primarily Meebits, primarily CryptoPunks, that are being compared to Bored Apes, and look at how many buyers they have. It's really like the narrative is basically the elitist versus kind of the community grassroots approach, right? Where you have very high value, low volume in something like a CryptoPunks, and now with the Bored Ape Yacht Club, although that's changing rapidly, you have the low value, high volume that you can create a community off of. So that's really being seen there, right? You have the buyers 427.
Absolutely. And
yep, go ahead.
yep, exactly. And if you look, okay, out of the top 5 projects, right? You've got Bored Ape Yacht Club, you got NBA Top Shot, and you've got VeeFriends that are all these, well, maybe not so much VeeFriends, but CryptoPunks that were all these low barrier of entry, right? Like, it's important to understand CryptoPunks were given away, all 10,000. NBA Top Shot has packs that you can buy for $10 that drop regularly. Bored Ape Yacht Club, 0.08 ETH to be able to buy in and become part of this community. We're going to see a lot more experiences that take that wax model and apply them overall, right? Like, to be able to launch higher volume, lower price, right, of entry. It just makes sense. Yep. That's where we go from being this, place where celebrities and brands want to come in and make $1 million and get out, to where brands want to come in and they want to put in a foundation and they want to make sure that they're providing and they're gaining long-term value. And we have to be real, right? Like, if a brand is going to come into the space, they're going to do it for value. But if they do it the right way and they bring value to their collectors the same way Bored Ape Yacht Club is doing, they can win. Right? Yeah. Like, imagine owning, imagine owning, I'm here in Atlanta, right? So imagine owning an Atlanta Braves NFT that gives you special access to a one-time limited edition run of jerseys, right? Like, imagine they do a run where it's an official Atlanta jersey, but on the back, instead of saying the player's name, it says NFT, and they only sell 300 of them.
Yep.
Right? Like, dude, that's dope. And you have to be a holder of their season 1 NFTs to be able to access it. That is the future of how you bring more value to not only your brand and your product, but how you bring more value to the people who are engaging with it, collecting it, buying it, whatever. I think the future is definitely an economy where the consumer is being able to profit from their consumption.
You could go down so many rabbit holes with this. Once you get to a certain size, though, like, let's say Bored Ape Yacht Club, for whatever reason, goes to floor is 50 ETH or floor is 20 ETH. Does it become prohibitive to future community members? That's a give and take, right? You see that within CryptoPunks and Meebits right now. That's a conversation we're having, where it's like, how do we get general members? Once it starts to reach a certain plateau, does it become prohibitive for future members? That I just think that there's a huge discussion to be had in this whole kind of topic. So
I think it's a really good question, man. To speak on that, I do think that there's a point where it does become a little bit prohibitive, but I think that, like, it's going to depend completely on the vibe of the community. Because honestly, being part of, like, the Bored Ape Yacht community, I feel like they're not that, I don't know, it's different. It's different from the CryptoPunks. CryptoPunks is very much we have this value because we are an OG NFT product, right? And Bored Apes is like, we have this value because we are community, right? Like, because we are, Dingo and John and J-Rocks and Nifty and Wizmo, and shout out to Fragrant and Wrong Seed and Morphix and Doxia and Tank Hankerus, right? All these people are apes, dude, and they're all hanging out in a community where they know each other, they appreciate each other, and they're building together. So I think that is that's what it comes down to, man.
It really is, and I'm throwing this up on the screen really quick because we had Beeple come out recently. This is just adding to the drama, right? Adding to the story. You have a Meebits versus Bored Ape Yacht Club. We know Beeple is the man for the moment. He loves kind of capturing the zeitgeist of the physical day. He creates these literally every day, so he's on top of it. But he has Meebits going after BAYC here, and I think it's a little bit disingenuous. I think Meebits and BAYC could probably work together. You see a lot of that happen within Web3, and we're able to kind of prosper together as opposed to feeling like we're being competitors. But it was cool to see people kind of come out with this piece. I'm sure the BAYC crowd was not happy, and you did show me some memes as well that were pretty funny.
Yeah, they had a response.
Yeah,
they definitely had a response. And the best part about it is that, like, you had all types of people chiming in, right? Like, you had Jimmy all weekend, you had Pranksy, like, kind of going out there, and I love that. Like, I love and I hate the fact fact that Pranksy had to come out and say like, look, like all of this is in jest. Like I'm heavily invested in both communities and I love both. And I think that if you understand the space, I think that's kind of the general sentiment about everybody. I don't think anyone from, the Bored Ape Yacht Club is like, oh, I can't stand Meebits. Like I hate Meebits. I mean, there's definitely like an aspect of that in crypto in general. So, maybe there's that sentiment out there about, the way it was released, the way, they gave away, so many of them, the way that, the floor worked or the sale worked, etc. But I think overall it's all love, man. I think all these communities just appreciate each other so much, right? Like, and when you see a community that like lives and breeds its loyalty, right? Like it works. And it helps so much. So, and it's intoxicating, man. When you get on this, I'm on this Discord and I've been on the Discord all morning because when things happen in this community, people get so hype. Dude, the merch drop, like people were going nuts. Like people who were able to grab stuff were super excited. Like it's definitely a place to be. And yeah, dude.
There's a lot of links that we want to get to, obviously, to show. I kind of showed a little bit of an offshoot project that you see all the time in this generative art stuff, this kind of scene. And you saw Arabian Camels there. That is a project that's making its rounds on Twitter a little bit. Maybe people trying to get even lower, or people maybe that can't afford a Bored Ape or want to get in at a lower price. Maybe the Arabian Camels become something, but going to be super hard to recreate. The kind of, I don't know, the feeling. You even touched on it, that Bored Ape kind of hit. So I think that is going to be, I mean, we do have other things to show, but I think that's going to be like a majority of the conversation. Do you want to hit any questions that we kind of have or comments that you see in the chat, Ronan? It looks like XPlow is next, or at least an hour out from that brewery that was doing the IPA piece there. So he's saying if anybody wants any brews, he's got you from Lad City. So
yes, I'm down for that one, buddy. So let's touch some of the comments, man, because we had a lot of like comments while we were chatting. I think that just to touch on some, Crypto Santa he bought the Monday after launch, but finally he's in the green. So cool to do whatever you want with the IP for your apes, upper snacks. We touched on Choina's question, which I don't think that we had an official answer. I don't think they had anything in place to make sure that it's like official like merch. So there's definitely that to consider if you're going to be buying on the secondary when it comes to the merchandise.
Yeah.
Matt said everyone aped in. I love it. There was another comment that I definitely wanted to hit that was more of a question.
Yeah.
Scott, yep.
I'm gonna hit two here while you get that ready. 333 was asking. I was able to snag some. Who else got in? I think Andy had a good comment here. He said you can release secondary collections like mutations or version 2s, but it is a balancing act trying to not diminish the value of OG collections. And that was talking about how you kind of play into, okay, that first collection is getting a little bit too expensive. How do we keep it open like we want it to be? So good comment there.
Yeah, and excellent comment, because I think that it's important that you keep the value right for these OGs, and everybody wonders like how is the breeding going to affect our initial value in these apes, and I think it's just going to make them go higher depending on how they implement that aspect. Andy says exclusivity is good for the floor, but if goal is to exponentially increase ape ownership, we need to expand collection eventually. What do we prefer? I think that most of the apes would say we prefer more ownership versus more exclusivity. I think they kind of not super hand in hand, but I think that eventually when NFTs, in a year from now, we're going to look at these 10,000 drops and be like, that was not enough. Like, we're going to have eventually, like you'll creep over probably 5,000 of, owners, individual owners of these things. And I think it'll be well worth it because I don't think there's too many people who only hold just one.
Yeah, absolutely. We've got Danny 3PD. He's got another response here that people wanted us to show in chat. So that's a really, really funny response. I love this, man. I think it brings a lot of energy to an otherwise kind of wishy-washy time with where we think we're at in this market. So a lot of really cool stuff happening within Bored Apes, man. I think we spent we time flew by here. We're almost like I think 30 minutes into the episode or something like that. So anything you guys want us to hit here, kind of at the end of the episode? The biggest question that people are going to ask are what, at least newer people to this generative art movement, what does it do? And we have that comment kind of coming through on the chat here. Edgar is asking, what's the utility of a BAYC? So,
oh yeah, I love that question.
Hit it, and then we'll move on.
Utility for BAYC. Yeah, well, I think that's kind of what we've been chatting about for the past like 30 minutes, man. I think that, you know, the utility is the access, right, to the merchandise sale, which was, the access is a huge thing. That, you know, being able to get in on the merchandise was big. You know, as you move forward, being able to take part in the breeding, being able to have, you know, further access to the liquidity pool, you know, being able to jump in on the treasure hunt. You know, there's other projects that are going to be incorporating club access as well. I imagine that if you want to visit the club in the sandbox, you're probably going to, it's probably going to require that you have an ape in your wallet. So when you talk about utility, there's lots of utility for the apes, and then you throw in the fact that you do own your image and you do own that you know, derivative, the ability to make derivatives rather. So, you know, the utility there is pretty much, I mean, endless, right? Mm-hmm. Like when you talk about like, what can I do with my ape? You can do whatever the heck you want with your own ape. You can, you know, create a comic book. You can create a TV show. You can create, you know, freaking stuff, you know, animals or whatever you want. I mean, someone, you know, I don't know. What is it? What are those things that always get my kids? The Build-A-Bear. Someone should contact Build-A-Bear, right? And like use your ape's image and get, you know, work something out. That's the type of things we want to see. I mean, over the weekend we saw people putting their apes up on electronic billboards, right? Like in different places. So, and you guys will definitely be seeing one of those from me soon. Cause it's a flex, like to be able to throw up your you know, the image of the NFT that you own. And you can see here, all of these little ape spots are all people in the community that, man. And you can see like they've really jumped around the ape spot in the middle.
It's a little bit of a microcosm, and I hate to get too deep on this, but it's a little bit of a microcosm of Bitcoin itself. And I know that is super deep, and I you know, need to kind of explain myself in that over the course of 10 years, 15 years, this group of crypto enthusiasts has just created what we all are doing right now. And it all happened from kind of a moment of a genesis moment. And it really hit, this Bored Ape stuff has happened within the course of a month. But that really is the value that you're seeing now. Bitcoin is thriving off the people that are joining off the narrative that people 10 years ago created. So that's kind of what it's happened in such a short amount of time. But you see a lot of enthusiasm just in this project in general, man, that you don't see in others. It's a big moment, which is why we're spending all this time.
Exactly. And we actually have a couple of people who seem like they're a little bit newer that I do want to touch on before we kind of move on to the rest of the show. Fresco asked late, he said, late here, is there a chance to get in at initial price? Unfortunately not, man. One of the biggest stories is, and I'm going to check this real fast to see if we've done it, which I don't think we have. But the floor for apes right now is 0.97 ETH, which is. So if you want to get in, it's going to cost you a little bit to jump in at this point. Lewis says BAYC at a marketing view is big. I think this is the best marketing utility on the NFT space right now. You will gain followers and engagement thanks to the community. That's just a 1% of the utility. And I think that's a really important point because it's true. And that is why I continue to say that NFTs are like social media 2.0, because this is how you engage your community moving forward as a creator and brand. That's how you make it happen, because you get cool shit like the Bored Ape Gazette that pop up that your community does in their own spare time, where they're now putting out content that is literally pumping the thing that you created, right? Limitlessly. Yeah. That's where this space is just mind-blowing in the way that you can leverage the relationship between creator and collector.
Yeah. And I love the comment here by Jay-Z, not the real Jay-Z, or maybe.
Could be the real Jay-Z.
Yeah, it could be the real Jay-Z. But Jay-Z saying utility is infinity. It's really limited again, by the creator. It's you can do anything with these things. It's just really whether you have the creativity and execution to carry that creativity out. So super excited about all of this. Appreciate the Bored Ape Yacht Club letting us in the back door here and letting us into the yacht club. We do have our membership cards, which I think you touched on. Most of this is going to be access. That's, TLDR, what these provide is access, and then it's up to the community, it's up to the actual project to provide what that is giving access to. So yeah, we snuck in the back door. We are happy to be here. We are going to continue to follow this project, of course. And we have our own, I don't know if I have your Bored Ape, man, but if you want to show anything here from your side, I'm going to see if I can't get to your
you can
profile here.
Well, you can't get like my original ape, but I think I linked my Dario Dario derivative that he did, this is like the first piece that I've gotten done kind of like as an aside for my ape. I do have a couple more that are in the works, including a drippies. But that's part of the fun in this, right? Like to be able to now get derivatives, and eventually I'll be able to do, a Web3 gallery on Cyber or something where it's nothing but, black hat derivatives, right? Like, and I was ecstatic when he sent me this, man. The colors, if you check out the detail in the hat, like, dude, he blew it out of the water. And to own a piece of art that is mine, that speaks to me, that I feel like it was perfect for me. I traded for this guy, by the way. I traded another ape that I had, and I traded for him, and I was super excited about it. And he's been like my main ape ever since. But to be able to do that, man, is empowering, and that is what is so unique about this space, is that you can empower your collectors. You can give them reason to invest because they're going to also hopefully, right, like get some return from that investment. So big shout out to the Bored Ape Yacht Club. Big shout out to everyone who is here hanging out with us from that community. We love you guys so much. I see there's plenty of you. If you guys haven't yet and you're enjoying the content, take 4 seconds to do 3 things. I want you to hit the like button, the thumbs up. That would be very appreciative. Hitting subscribe if you're enjoying it. Thank you. That was like 5 people just now. If you're enjoying the content a lot, make sure you subscribe. And then lastly, if you don't mind, twitter.com/NFT live. You can go check us out there. Follow, retweet, share. We're here every Tuesday, 2:30 p.m. Eastern. We're going over the news and all the hot stories from the NFT space. And typically we do have an interview, but today we wanted to really deep dive into Bored Ape Yacht Clubs because they've had $2.1 million in volume in the last 24 hours. And that is insane because they're not Top Shot. They're not backed by the NBA. They don't have a product that is like known worldwide. Yeah. This is just a bunch of crazy degenerates on Twitter who have created this amazing brand, and shout out to them and the community and everyone who's here today. We appreciate you guys so very much.
Yeah, I think we did the Bored Ape Yacht Club some justice today with our coverage of that platform. Lastly, I guess we can hop out and do some other links to some other stories around the NFT space. But again, shout out to the Bored Ape Yacht Club. We are going to be following that closely. And yeah, I think, again, if you guys are here and you really like the content, please leave a like. And we are going to move on. The last thing I wanted to show here, it looks like this story, NFT Plazas, was able to get, I hate to show my thing last. I should have done this like first. But it looks like they were able to get my little rabbit ears crypto or Bored Ape Yacht Club ape there. I'll see if I can find a better shot of him. There you go. So that's my last shill for the day. Again, really cool stuff. Keep it up. The community was awesome. Gordon, we reached out to one of the team members and tried to get them on, but they're steadily working. Hopefully we can get them on the channel soon. So awesome, man. We are going to move on into our next pieces. A reminder, Ronan, that we do have that young content show that is at 3:30. So we're going to fly through.
All right, watch this. Yeah. You guys want to see a real quick news section? We got it for you. So first up on the news is I've got the Sotheby's and Artifact collaboration. I don't really know if it's a collab. Basically, it's an auction by Artifact and a private collector who created the original Kobe ones, right? Like he created the original sneaker, and this is now a digital version of that sneaker that he worked with Artifact to recreate. Sotheby is auctioning it off. What is interesting about this story is there is a lot of drama around it, right? The community is kind of having this split discussion in regards to whether or not this is something that should be done because of the fact that the Kobe family has not been contacted about the sale. So that's kind of got a lot of people up in arms saying, you know, hey, if you're selling something that's got his name, then you should have the blessing from the family. And then you've got some other people who are saying, hey, look, like, you know, the guy who designed the original Kobe one, like this is just a digital recreation of that. That was his art. That was his thing. He owns that, right? Like he created it. And if he wants to do a digital derivative of it, he has every right to. And from what I understand, Christie's went through an extremely lengthy, law process to ensure that they wouldn't have any issues. Now, whether or not it's ethical, I think, is another question. You know, whether or not you should be selling that without the blessing of the family, regardless of whether or not it's legal, I think is definitely a question that should be asked by not only Christie's themselves, but any of the people involved. And, for me, I think it can go either way. So, depending on the viewpoint and where you sit, I think that everyone kind of has an argument. And I do think that the best way to go about it is find a happy middle ground. But yeah, so that is the number one story for you guys out of a few that we've got coming up real quick.
Absolutely. So I've got the next story. Ben Mauro over on the Flow blockchain launched the Evolution series kind of in the middle of that hype cycle, right? The NFT hype cycle. Really cool little collection here, as I can show you guys. He was able to do like really in-depth work on different trading cards and collectibles. You can kind of see them here. He's worked on numerous movies to kind of do the director art there. And he's doing some cool things with utility. So as you can see, Scythian Ruler here, you were able to get this, and let me see if I can go to rewards and pull this up. So you were able to get a rare reward if you owned all common rare cards, and I believe there was 100 max, and reward cards were minted and distributed on that Vive marketplace, which is basically Flow's OpenSea. So he actually came out with a video yesterday, and let me see if I can't pull that up. I want to make sure that I get the right one.
That's a lot of tabs.
Yeah, that is a lot of tabs. Hey, I'm working, man. This is I'm a professional. So I've got the piece here. You guys aren't going to be able to see video or audio, but I've got the piece, and basically he's allowing the people who have the rare reward card that I just explained, you're going to be getting added utility, and you're going to be able to go on this Easter egg hunt essentially for additional rewards. So I really we've been talking about lore all day here, and this is just adding to his evolution world ecosystem essentially. So really like that Ben Mauro is following this up, and he is kind of adding experiences, adding lore to what he is doing. So boom, that's a really cool thing from Ben Mauro there.
Absolutely. Big shout out to Ben Mauro for that, adding that, and big shout out to Fuck Render for being the originator of the NFT metaverse kind of drop experience like this, and having that initial Easter egg hunt in a Web3 experience. So, I think that it's always nice to shout out the people who do it first, and I think Fuck Render did an amazing job. His it's blowing up.
Hold on. So one thing, I got XPow in the chat, man. He's saying, what about a Lohan BAYC collab? What do you think about that, Ronan?
Look, I'm Googling right now. How do you ban someone from live YouTube chat? Because XPlow, we got a problem, brother.
Listen,
no, it is what it is. I'm a proponent of collabs. Okay, so if they're collaborating, it's a collab. It is what it is. So the next story up, and I'm going to touch this super, super fast. It's not even going to be like, 4 p.m., which is in 32 minutes, the ZENFT project launches. These are 8,888 bonsais with 8 attributes each that are rarity, randomly rolled rarities, just like the Bored Apes. And the cool thing about this project is that they've already worked out some cool collaborations, including Bored Ape Yacht Club and the Sandbox. So you guys are definitely going to want to check that out. I'm picking up one faux show in 32 minutes. I've got some alarms set, and I'm looking forward to that coming up. And I do want to touch real quick in chat because somebody did say something. Any interest in Metafactory or Punk's Comics? Heard Punk's Comics might collab with Apes. Punk's Comics issue 2 is going to be an ape-centric issue. Also, that's number one. Number two, if you know why I can't buy a Punk's comic, I'd appreciate a DM, because I have tried to go to the website, I've tried to go to I've connected my wallet, I've tried to hit purchase, and it does nothing for me. And I would like a Punk's comic because that's an excellent project. Q, you got the last point, and we are out.
This is going to be as quick, and if not quicker, than what Ronan just hit on, and then we're going to hop out of here, guys. I want to comment here, Choina in the house. He says, thanks to all the BAYC members for stopping by. While you're here, come and say hello in LADZ City. We've got our own awesome and cross-project community, right? So we're hitting everything. We got a lot of BAYC members in LADZ. So LADZ City in your browser, and that should take you to our Discord. That will be some fun times. I've got the next story here. AJ Vanderchuk, brother of obviously Gary Vaynerchuk. Sheesh, VeeFriends initial sale is now 100% sold out. Secondary market from here on out. Fun times. Congrats to Gary Vaynerchuk. That's basically the story. They're selling out. We'll see and follow that project as we go, but it's great to see another project kind of sell out, and it looks like Gary is doing what he can to make it, have that utility. So awesome story there, and we'll be following Gary V as he looks to take over the NFT space.
Not happening, Gary, but congratulations. So we appreciate everybody who's in chat. Last time I'm going to say it, if you enjoyed the episode, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. We appreciate it very much. We'll see you next week, Tuesday, 2:30 p.m. Eastern. And with that, it's our vibe, our tribe. We'll catch you guys next week.
All right, later, guys.